Yeah, we're still gonna do it. All right. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you're able to, please rise and face the east for the Moorish American prayer. Allah,
Allah,
the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.
amen.
All right, I want to announce that the meeting is now open. First and foremost, we rise and give the highest praise to the Father of the universe, Allah. We always give honors to our holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality. We also give honors to the forerunner to the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. In addition, we give honors to all the faithful Moors out there, all the faithful Moors, all the members of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Islam? All right, Islam. Okay, let's see. Let's split things up today. If y'all can Cole Bay, can you read the Divine Constitution?
Islam, definitely.
Islam. Jackson Bay, can you read the writs later on?
Islam. Gotcha.
All right. Okay. Cole Bay, if you can, please read the Divine Constitution and bylaws.
Islam, salvation, Allah, unity. The Divine Constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father, God, Allah. For this cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister in any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national names to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabit the north, west, and southwest shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then they are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder. Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America. Home office of Noble Drew Ali. Home office, Chicago, Illinois, U.S.A. Islam.
All right, Islam. Thank you, Kobe, for reading that. All right. Do we all have a good understanding of what nationality is? Does anybody have any questions about that? All right.
I got.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What's nationality, man? Just
all right.
One time.
Yeah, we have this definition right up here from the Britannica, and it's talking about like from an international perspective or international law perspective. And the definition is just saying nationality is of cardinal importance because it is mainly through nationality that the individual comes within the scope of international law and has access to the political and economic rights and privileges conferred by modern states on their nationals, right? So, I mean, you might hear people say that we're all nationals. We're nationals. We're Moorish nationals. Well, everyone who has citizenship here is a national of the United States, and you don't really think about it unless you go to another nation, right? When you're in another nation, you're considered a national, a U.S. national, okay? And our free national name is American because we're U.S. citizens, all right? But what constitutes a nation? All right, the nation is the people who share a common history, common language, religion, concepts of government, right? The law, the land, and the government, all this constitutes the nation, all right? And when you're looking at Moors and looking at some of the political affairs that Moors are engaged in, from our perspective, our position is to teach our members the necessity of active participation in the political affairs of our nation, right? To teach how the government was established, its aims and objects and goals, right? And we're one of the things you'll read, as you're reading more literature and everything, is that one of the things the prophet said is he's teaching us how to be better citizens, right? And this is where the whole thing of civics comes into play, teaching us how to empower ourselves, right? This is also one of the reasons the prophet said he brought us everything that we need. Now take it and save yourselves. There was this one song, I think Brother Kobe has shared it, right, in the group, the rap song with it. Dude was, he starts off the song, he's complaining about some of the stuff that's afflicting us as a community, right? And that's to get your attention, when you're complaining about maybe how like our, communities, underfunded, just different things, police brutality, right? That gets people paying attention. And then he flipped it and he started speaking on civics. He started speaking on how you're supposed to vote for your local representatives and your city council and all these things, how you have the power, you put them in place. We don't like how the schools are set up. We think it's biased. We think all this How many of these school board meetings are we at, right? We can replace all the people that are there, especially in our communities, right? Like a majority Asiatic community. The people who are on that board, the superintendent, all those people, we're supposed to be on them. We're supposed to be putting them in that position, right? And then, you know, everything, you know, the police force, the fire department, all of these things like that are getting funded by us, by our tax dollars, the city council, all of this, the mayor, everyone, and then, you know, Congress and Senate, you know, and I mean, that song was brilliant. I loved it, you know, and that's something that we should use when we're going out later on with the voter drive later this year. But I was just saying that because this is some of the stuff, this is what we're supposed to learn here within the Moorish Science Temple of America and here, you know, in Ohio, what we're supposed to learn, we're supposed to master this, right? And so there's only a handful of us in here because when it, you know, when it comes down to it, there's only a handful of people who actually show up to the city council meetings, right? There's only a handful of people who are taking an active part, you know, in rulership, all right? And so we're to learn this, master this, understand it inside and out so that we can go out and affect change. And then as others coming into the temple, you know, everybody on this call is going to be an ADEP. We're all going to, you know, in ADEP too, I need to say this, it's not just the title, all right? And I want to make sure that we all study and learn together too, because when me and Scylla joined, we were kind of like rushed through everything, you know? And we're not going to do it like that. You know, we're going to take our time and learn. That's why we need to do these meetings. You know, we need to make these meetings every week. Only reason me and Scylla were able to even handle being rushed through is because we have been studying. But we need to do this every week, not so that we can get strong, so that I can get stronger. You guys can get stronger in this, so that we can master it, so that we can be adepts for real, right? We don't just want this to be a title. We want to actually be adept in the metaphysical, in the physical, law, legal matters, everything, right? So we need to understand this and know how things run and know how to affect change in our physical environment, in our communities. And then as more members start to come in, we can teach this to them. And so like, you know, I might hold class one day. Next time it might be Jackson Bay, you know, holding class. I'm just saying him because he's been in it probably next longest. You know, then, you know, it might be somebody else. You know, it might be David Sell, Cole Bay, Islam, my brother Marl Bay just joined. It could be Jones L. You know, it's but I just want it to be where we're all strong and where we can all teach this to our community and to the people who come in so that we can have, you know, 100 or 200 people who are adept in this. It's not just about the spiritual teachings, you know, it's also about affecting change in our community and being able to empower ourselves. And so, you know, this is one of the important things, is to teach the necessity of being an active participant in the political affairs of our nation. Okay, so we don't, not even to waste time, say you're talking to somebody who already knows they're more, and they're not even thinking about, you know, who's in office and putting, you know, like in their community. And if you're, you know, getting involved and trying, you would be wasting your time even talking to them because they're so far out there. They're not even thinking about that. So what we do is go to everyone else that's out there, let them know, hey, whatever it is, you know, that they may have issues with, you can meet them where they're at. It could be about police brutality. Well, you know how we can change that? And we focus on the solutions. We go to the solutions. People can come in. We can educate them about how we can actually affect change and move from there. Islam to the brother that just joined, Mikhail Abdullah Bey. Islam. Peace, brother. Are you in Columbus?
Islam, no, that's my brother that's with me in Rhode Island.
Oh, Marl Bay. Okay. Islam.
Peace, everybody. Islam.
All right, peace and love. All right, so just going back to that, you know, this is one of the key things that we do. This is important. We explain, we study and learn. We need to understand what we're doing, even with just the our first, strategy, national strategy for how we're going about the census, that's civics. We're getting out here. We're all going to do the same thing. We're going to go out here and educate the community, get more people to get in alignment with that. And we are publicly declaring who we are to the government on the record. And that's powerful. That's something. Okay. Next move, doing the voter registration for the voter block. It's a big deal, right? But we know also that we can't just vote. We have to go back and be on the people that we're helping to get into office, right? So it's a never going process. And as leaders of the community, we're going to have to be on this. Okay. So, I was going to say, like, from our perspective, what are some of the civic pillars of Islam? So, for us, social, political, economic, finance, right? Promotion of better homes, business ownership, right? All of these fall under the principles of nationality and divine creed. All right. And these were all things that the prophet was pushing in his time, right?
Islam, you could repeat that again. You said finances.
Yeah. Okay. Social, political, economical. Social, political, economical. And finance. Just the promotion of more business ownership, better homes.
Islam. Thank you.
All right. And like, we could ask ourselves too, what did the prophet mean when he said we are a national organization, a Rotarian complexion? Right.
What does Rotarian mean?
Let's look that up.
How you do you get the definition? Tell us how you spell that.
All right. It's
loaded.
You see it?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so Rotarian. Let's see. Well, this definition, I don't even know where that's coming from. Let me type definition. Okay. So we got adjective relating to or characteristic of Rotary International, a worldwide charitable society of business and professional people. Noun, a member of Rotary International. Right. Okay. So what is that? A Rotarian complexion.
Like, Rotarian is supposed to be like just revolving door businesses that with charitable, because that fits into Islam and stuff. And then we got a whole chapter on charity. So that's dope.
Yeah, so you see, this is international business and professional people. And if you look back, especially looking back at what the prophet was doing and the wide range of people that he had around him, that's what he's doing. We're international association, with distinguished businessmen and women, highly skilled people. And this is what our Moorish empire is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be set aside for citizens whose primary job was to take care of international business. And this is why he told us to take our place in the affairs of men and nations, right? Because this is what our forefathers were doing. Okay. And so if you look at this, like, once again, even just posting, just throwing little questions out there on the internet, depending on what type of people you're talking to, you're saying, hey, we should participate in the census. You might get some people that's, saying, we should opt out. We shouldn't even do that. We understand where people are coming from, having distrust of the government and different reasons why they wouldn't want to participate. But we also know that the prophet came and let us know, like, it's time, like, we don't need to hide. we need to step up and do our part. All right. Things are kind of going crazy all around us. Some might even say it's crumbling around us. Okay. We have to step up now and take our place in the affairs of men. All right. Now is definitely not the time to be hiding or, you know, moving away from that responsibility. It's a sacred responsibility, right? It's a sacred obligation. Okay. And so this is really important. He's bringing us back in so that we can take control of our destiny.
Islam. So basically, to answer your question about what the Prophet meant by rotary complexion, he means for us to look the part.
Islam. All right. All right. And so let's see, moving forward with the Holy Quran, this is our divine record book, right? It has our divine instructions. It gives us our origin, you know, reconnects us back to our origin. It has secret lessons in there. All right. And this was delivered into our hands for the advancement of our race, you know, in a way to improve society. So for us, the Quran is the key to civilization, and, you know, could be seen as like a New Testament, you know, where the Quran of Mecca is the Old Testament. And this, you know, for us completes it. All right. It's like the New Testament. Islam, sorry, I don't remember. All right. Does anybody have any questions about any of that? Does everybody know why we wear the fez and turban? It's our national headdress. It's a sign of the highest type of civilization. One who's wearing a fez or turban has to represent the highest intelligence, the best character. It's not good if you're out here wearing your turban and fez and your pants is like, your pants are sagging, you know, all the way down the ground. Or if you out getting high, you know, the fez and turban on, right? That's a bad look. The creators of civilization doing that? Nah. You got to step it up. So it's important he returned this to us. Our nationality just happens to reconnect us to the creators of civilization, right? So that should bring out pride. Okay, and in many ways, this is how come society is, you know, is like it is right now, where it's in a fallen state. We can't blame it on anyone else. Why? Because we're the creators. You know, right? We can't be victims. You can't know that Allah manifested within you and be a victim. How does that work? Right? Islam, Davis L., can you read key 66 on here?
Islam, not at this time.
Okay. All right, can somebody else, just anyone, whoever can see the screen, read key 66. All right, Jones Bay, can you read key 66? His mic must not be working.
Islam. Oh, go ahead, brother.
All right.
I real quick, hold up. You write it down.
Islam, hold on.
Okay, you good. Okay.
Hey, yo, I had to think like, oh, that's me. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I said Jones L earlier. Sorry.
Jones.
You good? You said 66?
Yeah, just 66. It's up on the screen.
Okay. How many cells are there?
All right. Two. Okay. So, you know, if you just looking at that, right, don't really seem like, you know, it's simple. You know, okay, yeah, he's talking about the higher and lower self. Right, but check this out. Okay, right, we have the story that the prophet went into the secret chamber in between the paws of the Sphinx. Right, he was blindfolded, left there, and he wound. This was a test for him. Right. All right. Before I say anything else about that, right? Okay, the Sphinx is at 66 degrees north latitude and 66 degrees south latitude. All right. 66 degrees north and 66 south. That's where the Sphinx is. It denotes the two poles on the earth. Now, can you read 66 again, Jones Bay?
I'm sorry, my children is going ham in the back. That's why I keep muting them. All right. How many cells are there? 2.
All right, 2 cells, right? And the Sphinx is at 66 north, 66 south. And that denotes the two poles on the earth. The higher self is the north, the lower self is the south pole. All right. So the body is like the globe on the earth. And the Sphinx also is 66 feet tall. Right? And the Sphinx represents, it's got the head of a man, right? On the body of a what? A lion. Anybody know what that means?
Mastery itself, or conquering the lower self. Basically,
Islam.
Animal body
Nature.
with the Godhead, if you would.
Islam. That's right. That's right. So the Sphinx, right? The you know, the man, the head of man, body of a lion. That's the higher and lower self, right? Or mastery of the lower self. Okay, and we were told that within the Sphinx, you have the ancient Egyptian proverb that's inscribed in there that says, "Man, know thyself." Okay, so these keys are hidden in there, even within the keys within the Quran. Okay, some things that are in there that you can't see just right off bat. And the length of the Sphinx is 56 meters, right? Can Jackson Bay, can you read question 56?
Question 56.
Yeah.
What are the words of AC of the MSTA? Add-up chamber of the Moore Science Temple of America, third heaven.
Islam. All right. And so with this, like, the Egyptian adept told his adept students that he had to come between the paws of the Sphinx by the altar, right? And the Sphinx faces due east, and it has the small chamber right there between his paws, right? So he's also hiding that key, or not hiding, but it's right there, you know, in plain sight. But a lot of these things would go straight over, you know, over your head, right? They say that the prophet had to go down like 500 feet underground, you know, and he had to master air, earth, and water, and come up through the secret chamber in the Great Pyramid, right? And he was blindfolded. Okay. And so, like, even, you know, within that, you know, we have keys that are in here, you know, that are tied into ancient wisdom. And a lot of this stuff is like, you know, it's unrecognizable if you don't know what you're really looking at, you know. But these are all in here to help us regain our lost estate. And also our birthright. Does anybody know what our birthright is?
Man is the Lord of the plane made manifest.
Islam.
The planet.
That's right. To rule over all this, and not just the physical, but also the other. Go ahead.
Nah, I was just gonna say soul plane as well. No pun intended. The master of the Lord of manifest and unmanifest, or something like that. Islam.
All right. And so I just wanted to read that real quick before we go into the Quran. Okay. Just so that everybody has an understanding of the importance, you know, of the message And this is also how come in the beginning, we're concentrating really on working on self, right? Because we're not victims. We control our reality. We control it physically. We can participate in government, and we can just from a physical perspective change our reality. Then also mentally, our thoughts, are powerful. Okay, so this is setting us back up in the mindship of rulership. All right, and so we're going to read chapter 26 today, the Holy Instructions of Unity. All right. All right, verse 1. The gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah, and he appointed to everyone his portion, and what good measure seemeth good unto himself. Right? And so even, seeing that might be kind of hard to believe, because you might think there's some people that have less than others, right? But, Allah gave everyone, gifts and treasures. Everyone has abilities, in their own portion. So everyone, even somebody who's dealing with some extreme hardship, something that you're going through, maybe it's because that person is powerful or strong enough to overcome it. And that serves as like an example to others, because of what they were able to overcome. So everybody, no matter what, everyone, no matter how hard it may seem like some people don't, everybody's got it. All right. He hath endowed thee with wisdom. He hath enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth. Communicate it to the ignorant for their instruction. Communicate it to the wise for thine own improvement. True wisdom is less presuming than folly. The wise man doubteth often and changeth his mind. The fool is obstinate and doubteth not. He knoweth all things but his own ignorance. Islam. The pride of emptiness is an abomination, and to talk much is the folliness of foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience their impertinence, and to pity their absurdity. Islam, anybody have any questions about anything that's been read so far? Islam. So yeah, it's real simple. It's better to be quiet for the most part. Islam, brother. All right. Yet be not puffed up in thine own conceit, neither boast of superior understanding. The clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. The wise man feeleth his imperfections and is humbled. He laboreth in vain for his own approbation. But the fool peepeth in the shadow stream of his own mind, and is pleased with the pebbles which he seeth at the bottom. He bringeth them up and showeth them as pearls, and with the applause of his brethren delight himself. Wow. All right. He boasteth of attainments in things that are of no worth. But where it is a shame to be ignorant, there he hath no understanding. Even in the path of wisdom, he toileth after folly, and shame and disappointment are the rewards of his labor. But the wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. The improvement of the arts is his delight, and their utility to the public crowneth with honor. Nevertheless, the attainment of virtue he accounteth as the highest learning, and the science of happiness is the study of his life.
Islam, I just like this is how we supposed to be thinking, like, especially when it's the chapter that follows 25, right? And that's the Holy Covenant. So you just feel like you're seeing a lot of arguments amongst ourselves. We should just, before we start to argue, especially in public, we gotta, always think about some type always think with compassion when you hear something stupid or something foolish. You know what I mean? Like here, like try to hear, because you got to understand that last line set it up. The science of happiness is the study of his life. Like we all experience in life at different angles. Some things are just straight up stupid, but then you got to realize, you know, a lot of things that we do now, like, you know, the telephone sounded stupid, you know, when it first was heard until it happened. So just like, you know, just to keep it all unified, you know, just with compassion, you gotta listen. Sometimes you just gotta listen. And like you said, shut up, you know, and just like, oh yeah, that's how you feel? Okay. All right, you know what I mean? So Islam.
Peace. This good. This relates like exactly for that when I referenced the Plato's allegory of the cave. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with it, but essentially, it's the gist is imagining that that you grew up like chained up in a cave, and you weren't allowed to turn your head to see behind you, and behind you is like a raised platform with a fire behind it, and it's people back there, and you can hear them talking, but you can't see them. And they put like little dolls and shapes of like animals and different things, and all you can see and the people that's with you are the shadows casted on the wall. And then after that, like, well, it's also saying like, as you do that, you guys have like competitions on who can picture who knows what the image is the fastest, and so forth. Right, but then it's imagine that you got out and everybody else is still chained in there. And then you learn what's really going on, and you seeing that you saw the people, you saw what they were doing, and you actually saw outside. But then it also goes back and says at the end, like, it's your duty though to like go back into that cave and to try to teach them, like, even though that you know that the competition who knows the shadows the fastest doesn't matter, because it's not the shadow, it's something else. Like, even though you get ridiculed because you become the slowest, because now your eyes have to readjust to being in the dark like that after you've been in the light, but you still got to go in, at least try to, you know, pretty much, you know, to share knowledge. But then too, I like to reference too in the Quran where it says like the dietary restrictions, and it says about eating fire. The eating fire part is the keeping of knowledge and not sharing that. So just something else to be aware of. Peace.
Islam.
I believe the brother Jamal's hand was up.
Oh no, no, I wasn't. I probably clicked some buttons. I apologize. Proceed.
All right, Islam. Thank you everybody for coming in, man. Thank you for adding that measure, Ross. I appreciate it. Islam. And so, yeah, that's a key. I mean, I have to work on that myself too, you know, just with what was spoken on. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things might not agree with. Just like Brother Jackson Bay was saying, might think it's foolish or ignorant. And it's like, by me speaking on that, you know, I'm entertaining it from lower perspective, maybe feeling like you're better than that. And that's totally being in the ego, dwelling in the lower self, right? And then that's also what you're giving your mind power to. That's where your power is in your focus. And so, like, you know, it's really important. And it's like, it's an everyday job. You know, we're always using the tools from the workshop of the mind to square ourselves off, to keep, our thoughts within the bounds, within the proper bounds, to make sure that that we're using our power in a proper way, right? So you have to make sure that your thoughts are within the bounds of the measures of righteousness. And if we're not doing that, we're giving our power away. And so that's something that a lot of us do, all of the time, right? So it's an everyday job. And then it takes having this knowledge, actually knowing that this is real, that you control your reality, it gives you extra responsibility, right? Because you have to always be on your thoughts, what you're entertaining, what you're giving your thoughts to, and making sure that within the bounds of righteousness, right? So, we're always slipping out here, but there, with more power comes more responsibility. Islam?
Islam.
Islam.
All right, Islam.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you with. I was just gonna say, like when you said, just set up or just don't pay it attention, where it says the clearest human knowledge is but blindness of folly. So you just be blind to the. You can't obviously be blind, right, to certain things, but let your heart be blind to it. Let's just, instead of the mind, you know what I mean? Let's put it on that. Like, yeah, I'm about to go this way. So that you're not the only one. I'll be having to do that too. Islam.
All right, Islam. So I was gonna recap some of the stuff that we talked about yesterday and see if anybody had any questions. Let's see what one of the things we're moving forward with the flyers that we have. I'll go ahead and show it. Hang on. Right, so if you look at your screen, you see the flyer. Like, this is what it's going to look like on the front. Just some of this information is going to get changed. I'm going to put a new number on there. We have flyers where basically we're going to promote the temple and also promote the agenda that we have for the census. All right, so this is the front. Just promoting the temple. The website's up there at the top. Moorish Americans got the email and everything. Go ahead, brother.
Nah, just on the note that you mentioned, the census, man, that is something that I was very curious about, because I know it was coming in 2020. I don't know where you can go to look at the ballot, or if what type of information they want us to put in on the ballot, but do you know anything pertaining to that?
Yeah, check this out. We have a sample of the actual form that's being sent out. And so this is just a portion of it. This little blue box over here. This is the race portion, right? Okay, and so the picture that was just up, that's the front of the flyer, and then this is going to be on the back. And on the back, we're going to have advice for the census, where we're going to give these out to people. Those that want to talk about it, we'll explain it to them, what we're doing. Like, we have a national strategy for the census, okay? And what the directive is to, well, first off, we're not checking black for obvious reasons, right? And for those that don't know, I'll show you this real quick. We'll also have some information so we can explain this to people.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be something that'll be like a super great as far as enlightening people as far as the census, because I know, not even trying to be funny, like I mentioned the census to somebody, they didn't even know what the heck I was talking about. They didn't even know what the census was, and they were, of legal adult age at least.
Yeah, and so like what we were talking about at the beginning is basically with the temple. One of the things, one of our obligations, okay, is first to understand civics, and civics is basically having an understanding and knowledge and applying it to your local government, to your area, as far as participating in things like, you know, well, obviously your civic services like police, the streets, the schools, and all these things, participating in everything that controls that, right? The governor, the mayor, well, let's start at the state level. The governor, the senator, the congressman, and then your mayor, your city councilman, the school board, all of that. Not just having this stuff go on around us and we're not even participating in it, right? So our job is to understand how this works and to participate in it actively as Moorish Americans, and to go out and educate our people, right? Because they're getting taken advantage of. And with the census, okay, just from a historical perspective, this is something that they used to get us into the category that they wanted us to be in, which in the past used to be called Negro, right? They would just look at people and, or go off of rumors. Like they heard that, okay, these people that lived in that house, they're Negroes. And so so they would actually change some people, like they may have been classified as Indians, and then later on in their life, they got classified as Negroes. Okay. And so, and even going on up to the 1980s, they went off of how you appeared, because you had people who knew that they were Moorish Americans from the Prophet's time who would try to put Moorish American, and it wasn't working. They're looking at them and they're putting Negro. And so like in the year 2000, they changed things. They said, well, look, we're not doing that anymore. You tell us what you are, right? Okay, and so it's good. Like we can't let this opportunity pass by. We need to take an active role in defining ourselves and actually declaring who we are on the record to the government, but doing it in numbers, doing it in mass. All right. And so this is from the form SF 181, what's up on the screen. And the census uses that same information for determining ethnicity, race and ethnicity. Every group on here descends from an original people of the world, except for Black African American. It descends from the Black racial groups of Africa, which is so ambiguous. That could be anything. It's just like they tell us we're from West Africa. What does that mean? Were you from Ghana? What? Ivory Coast? There's a bunch of different nations in West Africa. So they just say the Black racial groups of Africa, which isn't anything, right? But even white descends from an original people of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa, right? So everyone descends from an original people, okay? All right, and so it's important for us definitely not to put Black or African American or white. We don't want to go off of any colors, right? But we also don't want to, want to say this, we don't want to not participate, because this is one of the things that the Prophet returned to us. A lot of people don't want to participate because we're disenfranchised, and because a lot of us honestly think the United States of America belongs to the European. They think that the United States of America government belongs to the European, when it doesn't. The government doesn't belong to the European, and it's not Christian. You know what I'm saying? It can't even have anything to do with religion. So this is our government. And the Prophet returned, this to us. And he also wanted us, or intended for us, to get involved, at the political level, at the state level, at the local level. Go ahead, brother, though. I'll finish in a second.
No, it wasn't a major thing. When I was reading, when you mentioned that, I was like, the white, because Black, it says what it says, but then the white, it does actually say something about being from North African region or Middle East.
Yeah. Like a lot of people that are from places like Egypt and Morocco, when they come over here, they get classified as white.
It's interesting because when you say black, just in the, you know, and I'm just speaking, you know, generally, it seems like, you know, black people, they think Africa, but then when you read the white definition, it mentions Africa. I wonder if people know that.
No, they don't. They don't. And so that's our job to let them know. Okay. And then like that, the census data, you know, this is what's used, you know, for them to determine how much money is going to this neighborhood, how many people's in that neighborhood. And we just happen to, you know, Asiatics, our neighborhoods just happen to be the ones that don't get counted the most, where there's a lot of people who either aren't participating, you know, or who just don't trust it, you know, so we tend to not. And then on top of that, we don't have our own leadership that's looking out for us, right? So whatever funds are going to these neighborhoods, where's it going? You know, everybody else is digging their hands in that pot, right? And that's how come it'll be a majority Asiatic neighborhood, but then they have like a liquor store on every corner. Whose agenda is that serving? Somebody else's. So we need to be in there active, taking, you know, taking an active role in this, determining what's going to go in this neighborhood, how many, you know, liquor stores we're going to have, you know, because they'll put their liquor stores that they don't even have this anymore because of the internet, but the stores like where people would go get porn, they'll put that in the hood, right? You know, whatever, you know, is shameful, they put it, you know, where we're at. And so, you know, we have to take an active role. All right. And so with just looking at this, like we have a directive is to, okay, to, we're going to acknowledge both sides of our ethnicity. You know, in many ways you could say that from our perspective, you know, the Americas are Africa as well, because the prophet placed us over here before the continent split up, said that the ancient name of Africa is Amexem, you know, and we came over here. We're going to acknowledge all of that. We have two directives. We check the other box and we print Asiatic Moorish. And then we also click the American Indian box, which the American Indians descend from the original peoples of the Americas, and we type more. Okay. And they have this, all of these things are within the racial codes or the hierarchical race codes that the federal government has. Like they have a code for more, and more is R101052004. That's a federal government code, hierarchical race code that denotes you as an American native, you know, an indigenous American. That's a more. That means more. Okay. And they just say it's a tribe. Okay. So, and we've already, you know, with leadership spoken to representatives from the census. It's known. Okay. When we put more, that this is what we mean. Indigenous to the Americas. All right. And so these are things that we can explain to people, but we're not just doing this for no reason. All right. And so then I shouldn't even say if, when we do this here in Ohio, Columbus, Akron, Dayton, and anywhere else that's going to participate, Cincinnati, okay. I mean, look, we can get 500, 700, 1,000. If we can get more than that to participate, I mean, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Okay? Seriously. Just here where we're at, we can show everybody else how it's done. You know, because I don't even know. I hope all the other Moors, I believe they're sincere. They're going to get out and get the message out and do it. But I know we could do it here in Ohio. We can take it seriously and get it done. And to get everybody to act in accordance, you know, and if people don't want to agree, well, I don't think we should put that. Okay, fine. Do what you want to do by yourself. But that's what we're doing in mass numbers. It's going to be something. Islam.
Okay, nah, never mind. I'm sorry, folks. My girl just came in. I thought she said that the census papers was coming out now or whatever, because she worked for the post office or whatever. So I thought we had something, but we ain't have none. My bad. I apologize.
All right. So, you know, people can do this on the internet. I think this is the first year you could just do the whole thing online or something, but they also will give you a paper copy. And so we're going to recommend everybody do the paper version and just make a copy for your records. And just in case anyone can't read this out, read the key points. There's 435 congressional seats, and they're all distributed on population. All right. People are recognized by national descent name. Remember that. Black African American people are not descended from any of the original people of the world. They're letting it be known that they created this. You know, legally, they can't say that it descends from an original people because, you know, they put all this work into creating it and disconnecting it from anyone, you know, right? Moor is a historically accurate identifier for those classified as Black/African American, and also for many people from the Caribbean and Latin America. It is integral that we actively participate in the 2020 census and that we self-identify, right? This is what we made. We're telling you, we're, you know, telling everyone, we're telling the world who we are, right? If somebody might try to flip that, why are you telling the white man? We're telling the whole world who we are, because that's what we're supposed to do. So out of an estimated 42 million African Americans in the country, 2.1% were not counted. That's over 800,000 people, right? There's states in the United States that don't have that many people or have just around that many people. Like states like Montana, some of those states, they don't have a lot of people in it. So like Montana can't afford to not be counted in the census. So we lost that many people by them not getting counted. So it's a big deal. And the Census Bureau was sued by 5 states for miscounting our population. So you have 5 different states that sued the census because their African Americans weren't being counted properly, right? And they're mad because this is how the funds get allocated. So it's really important, all right? And then these are the 5 steps that we advise. Right? You state yes for born in the U.S. for the citizen question. And that also signifies that you're a voter, right? Because this also determines things like the electoral college and things like this. All right. So we have this many Moors, and that's important too, because here in Ohio and then in the different districts here in Ohio, it's like, okay, all right, well, I'm in Columbus. Well, we have 500 Moors here, 500 Moorish Americans. And, you know, we're speaking to them, or our grand governor from Toledo is speaking to them. It's like, okay, well, yeah, in Columbus, we have 500 Moors. And in Dayton, we have 300 Moors or 400 Moors, right? And then they can actually go look, you know, or you can show them, because we can get that data and show them like, look, see? Why? Because they did the census. And then, okay, we're not just speaking to you for no reason. You want some support? You need this, and that. Well, this is what we need. We need to participate at that level just like everyone else does, right? And then for race, you select 2 options, like we said before. You click on that American Native and then write more. You don't need to put that race code because they already know it. So we just type more. Then select other. They even have codes for Asiatic and Moorish. All right? So it's been known who we are. They're just hoping that we wouldn't figure it out and do it, right? The longer we're confused, the longer we can be abused. We could use that. That should be on the flyer.
No, it shouldn't. Islam Moors, happy holy day. I wanted to add that this is not us. This is not Mission 30's agenda. This is the national agenda for the Moorish Science Temple of America. Some of you have been on the calls, the national calls with Supreme Grand Sheikh and all of the grand bodies all over the country. It's a beautiful thing because everybody's coming together and we're pushing one agenda, and that is this agenda. So it is important that we do participate. and we do the best that we can to, like the Moor said, put them on notice. We are letting them know who we are. This is the first time that it has been able for people to self-identify on the census, and that is a big deal. And we definitely need to take advantage of that, Islam.
Right, Islam, and so we're getting 5,000 flyers, and then that the thing I was just showing with the census, and then the other one is showing the temple, right? So we're putting those out so that people know about the temple. We can get more members to come in, and to get more people to do this on the census, even if they don't want to join the temple, right? They need to understand that, you know, Black, that's the slave name. Your last name isn't the slave name. Okay, your family might not have ever been owned as slaves. They might have just anglicized their name because these are the people who are ruling over them. I don't know, but I do know that Negro denotes to slavery. They created this label. They wrote all of this literature, even made acts and laws that separated this Negro from the human family, that described it as, you know, something that was like a beast of the field. It was just there to be abused and misused. Okay, it's not who we are. So our people need to know that, right? So we'll let them know, see how many people want to participate with us in the census, and that's the agenda. And one of the things too we were putting out there, people who want to help with this, contribute $40 by tomorrow, and everybody that contributes, you know, we'll split the actual flyers. We're getting 5,000. It's like $210. So we'll just split the cost with the people that, you know, that contribute. Everybody takes a stack of flyers and we'll just put them out there, you know, give them to as many people as possible, leave them in barbershops, stuff like that, and just get them out there, right? And just here in Mission 30, we have members in Akron and Dayton and Columbus, you know, and Cincinnati as well. So there's a ton of Asiatics in all of these areas. There's a lot of our people here, right? So we can really, you know, get this out there and do a lot. And all I'm gonna say is that if anybody wants to contribute, I'll share the PayPal or Cash App with you. $40 by tomorrow. We're gonna go ahead and get those flyers so that when we meet on February 16th, we can give them to everybody in their hands.
Islam, I was also going to add, because this is the first time some people are hearing this because they don't make the meetings. If you cannot send the funds by tomorrow, we just have that deadline because we actually have to order them from a company who's going to make them. If that's too soon, you can always bring the cash on hand to the physical meeting on the 16th, and you can also receive flyers then. Islam?
All right. So yeah, that was one of the things that we're doing right now. And of course, we're meeting, our next meeting is February 16th. That's pretty much it. I mean, one of the things we were talking about coming up, like as the weather gets warmer, we're going to start getting booths at the festivals, like the outdoor, you know, festivals and events that's going to be going on like all summer. And like hopefully we can do that like once a month. Just get a booth, and everybody that has something to sell, like some type of service, some type of, you know, products, you know, can come there. We can sell our stuff, you know, and also we'll promote the temple, like, you know, promote what we're doing, get the word out to the people. All right, but that's something that we'll be working on over the next few months. And that's pretty much it. Just for the census though, we're gonna let people know you don't want to go along with the race ethnic category. They're gonna ask ethnicity. Everybody gets asked, are you Hispanic or not Hispanic? None of us should type Hispanic. I don't care if your mom, dad, Puerto Rican, Dominican, whatever, you don't type that because Hispanic denotes being conquered by the Christian Spanish. All right. So even if you were of that descent, you would put no, and then still going to put Asiatic Moorish, right? Because that's our divine creed. That's our descent, right? So you still don't want to go under those labels. And that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions, though, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and go into the closing. All right. Okay. So if you can, please, well, I'm going to announce without further ado, we're going to go into the closing of the meeting. Now, Cole Bay, can you please read the writs? Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Jackson Bay.
All right, here we go. Islam. All right, here we go. The Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its proper course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violates the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their cards and buttons, cease wearing their fezzes and turbans, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali. And if the prophet is right, the temple is not right. If the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Jew Ali. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their everlasting salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that paid their divine respects to me and the movement, will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finances, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finances so badly as I do at present, so I can shovel aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in past years. Prophet, Noble Jew Ali. To be proclaimed every meeting. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instructions from your prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds you saw in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times is drawing near. So says Allah to his divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for the good works. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Islam.
Islam, thank you for reading that. All right. Okay, all meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you are able to, please rise and face the east for the closing prayer. Feet at a 45-degree angle. 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left. Face the east. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principles. This we ask in thy holy name in the 7 Elohim. Amen. Amen. All right, amen. That's it. Does anybody have any questions about what we spoke about or anything? Everybody understand?
Islam, just listen to people, no matter how stupid they is, but don't give it that much mind.
Islam. All right.
Peace.
Islam.
Islam, brother.
Islam. I came in late.
Happy Holy Day. Peace and love.
Happy Holy Day.
Happy Holy Day.
Happy Holy Day.
Happy Holy Day.
Peace. Happy Holy Day.
All right.
Y'all be safe.
All right. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.